rope, farmhouse style placemat. And the way I do this is I start at 4 inches so that it's a rounded oval, not a skinny oval. I don't know how to explain that, but it's a round oval, I guess. It's sort of round, it's sort of oval. So I take this and I pinch it at one end and I stick a pin there just to hold that fold. Then I lay it on my tape measure or my ruler, and then I go in and pinch this all together, hold it, and I go and put a pin right at 4 inches. And I need this a little bit longer. So I take that to the sewing machine, and where I put that pin is where I start sewing, and I sew it down to the folded end and pinch that together as I get closer to it. So let's go to the sewing machine and get started with this placemat. Okay, my sewing machine is all set to go. I have it set at a 425 tension, about a 6 width for the zigzag stitch, and a 3.5 length. I have a size 16 needle in my machine, and I'm using a cotton thread. It's the Aurifil cotton thread. So I'm going to start sewing now, and I'm going to start at the pin. Right where that pin is, I'm going to just pop that in. I'm going to make sure that I'm together in the center here. So where the two ropes come together is where you want to have your, run that right down the center of your presser foot. So you're going to zig and zag on one side and to the other side. So I want to catch both ropes in that. So we're going to start that now, and don't pull on this. Just let it guide itself through there. We'll do a little back stitching. And this, just want to hold that together. Whoops, press your foot down would be good. There we go. I'm going to take this pin out now, and I will hold it together when I get to the end. You really want to pinch that together before I get to the end. Use my scissors again so I don't sew my fingers. I'm going to back stitch that. And I'm going to pull that out and cut the thread, because now we're going to start at the other end. And check your zigzag stitching. Make sure that it is the same on both sides. You want to make sure that your tension is set right. For my machine, a little over 4 is good for this 6 millimeter cotton rope. Let's take our tape measure again. And what I do is when I turn this, I cut this off. Cut that on an angle, like so. So when I come around the side here, it won't be too bunched up. I'm going to cut those little bits of thread out. So let's take that over to the sewing machine now. And all right, let's get started here. We're going to back stitch. And then we do need to pinch that together at the end so that we don't have a big old bubble at the end. And then we can just kind of let it pull itself through. We get to this end here where we already have the turn in the or the curve in the rope. We're going to go around that curve very slowly. You can do this by hand if your machine does that, but very slowly around the turn, keeping the center up the center of your presser foot. And you might even have to do a little turning like that. It's hard to see this right at this very end here. I'm trying to push that in because it looks like a bump there, and I don't like that. So I'm going to press that in best I can and go around that corner. And it looks like I have to go a little bit by hand. Pick that up a little bit. Okay, I've gotten around that corner pretty well. As you go around, it's going to get easier. That first corner is a doozy there. My suggestion is just do it by hand, the turning. The turning of your wheel of your sewing machine. That's what I'm trying to say. Go slow enough, we can definitely make it around that corner, but you got to do a quick turn. I guide with my left hand and just kind of let that rope just swing in there on its own while I guide it slightly. All right, and then I'm just going to turn that a little bit more. You don't want to have any holes in your placemat, so make sure you're grabbing both sides as you go. If you mess up, stop, cut your thread, and just go back over it. As long as your thread matches, you should be okay. As I build this, you'll see me, my hand, this hand right here, will start to be way back here because the coaster or the placemat gets bigger and my hand gets in the way. So I have to put my hand off the side to guide it through so that the placemat doesn't get stuck on my hand. And you see now it's getting very easy to turn. So I just continue this until I have 29 rows of, and I count from the center out, from the center of that where we turn that, put it together. So 29 rows this way and this way. So I'll meet you back here when it gets a little bit bigger and see how we're doing. Okay, I've gotten to about my 30 feet mark. I just marked my cord so that I know, how much cord I'm using. It's not important that you do that, but I just, for my own personal sanity, I have to do that just so I know how much I'm using and make sure I have enough for the last one. So I just want to mention to you that I do have a stack of paper to my left side over here to try and level this off. This machine, I had it just level with the machine, but my machine, this plate here, is higher than the end of my machine. So I had to raise this up a little bit more just so that you want to keep this level. You don't want this lifting or hanging down over the edge because then it'll be wobbly. It won't be flat. So you want to, and the reason why when you see me in the video, I'm holding right here. This is where it's the most flat. And then my little, what do you call that, where you cut the bobbin thread off at, sometimes it wants to get hung up there. when I'm turning, so I use my fingernails sometimes to hold and turn at the same time. So I'll show you a little bit of that, and then I'll finish up the rest of this, and I'll be back to show it to you. Okay, I'm on my 29th row. I just finished. I wanted to end kind of where I started, right about here. And I'm going to pull this out of the machine. I've already done my back stitch. So I'm going to pull this out of the machine for a minute and cut that thread. And how I want to end this is I'm going to cut this on an angle this way underneath, and then we'll zigzag right over the top of that. I'm just going to go in and zigzag over the top of that. It's not the prettiest sight, but it'll do. It's going to have a tag over it, so I'm not worried about how it actually looks. Just cut that on an angle and then zigzag over the top of that to hold that together. So this will have a tag. I'll show you how that will look. This part, none of this is going to show, so I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. You can hit this with the steam iron if you wanted to try and flatten that out. I'm going to wash these, hang them to dry flat, and then I will steam iron them afterwards. So we're going to take this section here where we ended, right here, and we'll put our tag on. I'm not doing that right now, but I'm going to do it after I wash it and etc. But I just want you to see how this will look when it's finished. And this will be flattened out because I wash it and I'll stretch it a little bit and lay something on it to dry flat. So they'll be beautiful on the table. So just fold this in half, pop this in there. I'll just pin it down so you can kind of see it a little bit, how cute this will look when it's done. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful little, it's not little, let's measure it. This measures 17 by 13 and a half. So my other two measure exactly the same. And I started with the exact 4 inches for the center piece. So I hope this was informative. You can watch my other video. I did a time-lapse video of me sewing this if you wanted to see more of the sewing part. But it goes really fast. So I thought I'd make version so that you can see the schematics of how we put this together. And again, this is 6mm or 1/4 inch cotton braided rope, or you could use clothesline for that as well. Use the Aurifil cotton thread as well, a size 16 needle, and just go for it. And make sure that you do a test piece before you start this. You would hate to get started and find out that your zigzagging on the back is not the same as on the front. So you're going to have to play with the tension on your sewing machine to get that to work for you. Mine is set at a 425 on my brother's Strong and Tough machine, and it works well for this cotton rope. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you try and make some. And let me know if you have any questions about anything that we did today. And leave me a comment in the comment section if you like. And y'all have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.